Well, isn't this a treat? I imagine this place from thousands of kilometers away. It's the place where I go in my heart, in my soul. When I'm lost, when I'm lonely, I imagine myself in my canoe by myself on this lake. It's the place where I come to feel the earth, to feel myself, to get back to what gets lost in all the busyness of life. And so what a treat to be here. And off the top, I want to thank the Ashkenaz Festival and Eric Stein for helping create an opportunity to make music on this sacred and blessed land. And my family has been here for over 80 years, and to have a piece of land that you can put your fingers into for that long is very special, especially coming from a Jewish background where so much of the land that my family lived on was taken away. So thank you all for coming and joining us. And this is part of a Labor Day weekend live stream celebration on a weekend when normally in Toronto we invite tens of thousands of people down to the waterfront. So I guess it's fitting that we're on a different waterfront. And so for the concert today, at Eric's suggestion, the artistic director, I thought that I would take you on a bit of a journey to how my involvement with this festival came to be. And actually, it was many years ago, or 20 years ago now, with my mother actually, we went north of Montreal to the Laurentian Mountains where Claes Canada, this celebration of Yiddish language and culture takes place. And I got on stage and this incredible thinker, writer, Michael Wex, translated parts of one of my favorite songs into Yiddish. And I was hooked. So please, enjoy this song about dreaming and about hope and about lullabies on this beautiful afternoon. When all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble all around, heaven opens a magic lane. When all the stars open up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, to a place beyond the rain. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Über dem Regenbogen, hoch und weit, liegt ein Land verboten schon von einer langen Zeit. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Über dem Regenbogen a Vogel fliegt, Vögel a fliegen in Frieden neu, Favus kenn ich nicht. Someday I'll wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why? Then oh, why can't I befegel fliehen hoch und weit beyond the rainbow. Why, oh, I can't I? Thank you. I think it's my first concert singing to kayaks and pontoon boats. It's nice to know there's still a lot of life left to live. How's everyone doing? Another round of beer? Is that everyone's got their drinks and stuff? Not that kind of concert? Okay. My involvement with the Ashkenaz Festival was somewhat serendipitous. At the time that I became involved and I'd come home from Claes Canada, I became interested in the Yiddish language, in part because it came to me at that point that Yiddish had been an important part of my family's heritage. Although my grandparents and my mother kind of spoke a mixture of Russian, Yiddish, sometimes Polish and English, and so I didn't discern as a child really what was Yiddish, except later on I realized when I was being scolded. That was in Yiddish, which makes sense to you that speak Yiddish because you can creatively tell somebody where to go in Yiddish, which is actually quite a lot of fun. But my interest was piqued in part because the story of my grandfather having lost his family in the Holocaust really hadn't emerged in any linguistic, symbolic form in our family. It hadn't really been spoken about, which makes a lot of sense because these kinds of losses often can't come out except if in music or art. And so in my body, I remember walking around Toronto and I felt the wind blowing, and this was when David Bookbinder and I had met on a number of occasions. We met at this puppet theater protest. We met when I was singing at the Mayor's Ball in Toronto. And then he approached me and came to me and asked if I would join him at the festival. And one of the first songs, which is a liturgical piece, and we have some people here today from the synagogue in Kingston where I sing, this piece was one of the first to give voice to something I could not put my finger on, which had been a struggle and a loss of faith for my grandfather that had lasted for decades. Except he came back and he built a family, and so when I sing this song, I feel like it transcends the sort of everyday confusion that we might experience with that kind of loss and touch something a lot more deeply.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, Beterem Kol, Yitzir Nivach, Le'et Nasa, Vechefzo Kol, Azai Melech Shemo, הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברח להתנסה וחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא ויחרק יכלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא יהיה בתפארה. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברח, להתנסה וחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא ויחרק יכלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא היה והוא
I see some of you singing. Sing with me.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברח, להתנסה וחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברח, להתנסה וחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא יהיה בתפארה. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברח, להתנסה וחפץ הכל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא יהיה בתפארה. בתפארה, בתפארה.
Thank you. Oh. So, as I progressed and started to learn Yiddish, I actually received a number of grants to go to New York City and study Yiddish at Columbia University in partnership with what's called the YIVO Institute, the Yiddishkayt Institute, which is an archive famous for having saved many documents in Europe in the war. And I remember studying in New York and being on the subway and just trying my damnedest to learn a Yiddish song. You know, when you learn a new language, it's very humbling and it takes so much time to get it into your bones. And not long after that, I actually sang this song for the first time with Eric Stein and his band actually in Toronto. This must have been just under 20 years ago. And I always come back to it because it's written by this famous Yiddish poet who actually didn't die that long ago. He lived into his 90s. And his name was Avram Sutzkever, and he was famous for actually having hid in a coffin during the war and having etched poetry with a nail into the wood. And he always said he couldn't, this is how he survived, this is how he got through it. And I stood in this theater, welcome. I stood in this theater in Toronto. My grandfather was there in his 80s. Think about it, he had never been able to speak to me. When I tried to ask him his siblings' names, he literally started to faint and I started to lose consciousness and I knew that I could never ask him again. And so I stood in this theater, I sang this to him in the audience, and when we sat later, I told him, I have to sing this to you because I have to fill this void somehow. And this song, which I'll sing a bit in English so you can understand the text, is really about what happens when words fail us. And as many of you know, I work as a psychotherapist day in and day out. And this is my job now, which is interesting. I've never thought about this before, but this is my job. When people in my office, when words fail them, as recently as this morning, I actually said to someone, can I give you some words? And so my introduction to Yiddish was giving words to something that had lived in our family for decades. And we know this helps us ground ourselves. Like you say to a child, what's wrong? And the frightening feeling as a parent when your child can't tell you what's wrong, when they finally tell you and you can breathe again. So this gave me breath. It's called Under Your White Starry Heaven by the late Avram Sutzkever. Under your white starry heaven, offer me your pale white hand. All my words are flowing teardrops. I would place them in your hand. Gone the luster from their brightness, seen through morbid cellar view. I no longer have my own space to reflect them back to you. Und ich hab gar nicht kein Winkel, sie zu schenken dir zurück. Unter deine weiße Stern streckt zu mir deine weiße Hand. Meine Wärter seinen Tränen willen ruhen in dein Hand. Sie ist dunkel, sehr finkel, in mein Keller dicken Blick. Meine Wärter seinen Tränen willen ruhen in dein Hand. All my words are flowing teardrops. I would place them in your hand. My devoted God, I offer everything that I possess. Weil es monten mir a fire und in fire meine Ted only in the holes and cellars with deadly rest I share my days läuf ich heche über Dächer und ich such wo bist du I run higher over spire, searching where, oh, where are you? I am chased by phantom beings, stairs and courtyards haunt me too. Häng ich an geplatzter Schrone und ich sing zu dir also under your white starry heaven offer me your pale white hand meine Wärter seinen Tränen willen ruhen in dein Hand. All my words are flowing teardrops. I would place them in your Thank you. What a beautiful place to sing that song, no? To hear the wind and the water. We've all needed this, no? The last while? So, the deal was done, and a very interesting story is that when I got the job at the Ashkenaz Festival, there was a poster in my office of this tour that David Bookbinder, the founding artistic director, had done of Sweden. And that was cute and kind of exotic, and I was a little jealous that he got to play music all over Sweden. And fast forward 20 years, and my wife gets a job in Sweden. And one day during the pandemic when there's an article online about Sweden, I make a comment, and this woman writes me back and says, Mitchell, Smolkin, what are you doing living in Stockholm? We have to meet for lunch. And so I meet her. Stockholm's composed of all these islands. It's basically in the middle of an archipelago. And so we planned to meet for lunch, I think, on a Sunday, and it was during Passover, the Jewish celebration in the spring, and I wanted to get some matzah, this flat bread that is symbolic of the season, but I didn't know where to get it in Stockholm, and we were away, and so I said, look, can you get me some of this? Yes, I'll bring it to our lunch meeting. And so we meet for lunch. I take my bike about 40 minutes or so, and turns out that she was the one who helped organize this tour 20 years ago of this poster and that was in my office in Toronto. And as we talk, she says, oh, where do you live? And I tell her my address, and she goes, what number? And I go, 67. She goes, oh my God, my sister, where this matzah came from, is your neighbor. She lives right next door to you, and she's a Yiddish singer. And we just moved into this new flat in the heart of the city. And so I had taken my bike 45 minutes to get this bread that had actually come right next door. And this woman and her sister have become very, very good friends of mine. And within a few months, David resigned from the Ashkenaz Festival. I took over as artistic director. And then my first big project that I sang at the festival was falling in love with this amazing Yiddish tenor, Seymour Rechtzeit, who was this Wunderkind. He was this wonder child who had come to the US, and he had impressed them so much with his singing that even though there was a quota against more Jewish people coming over to the United States, he received a congressional committee meeting when President Calvin Coolidge was in office. He sang for them in Yiddish. He sang a song called Brengt mir mein Mammen von jener Seite, Bring Me My Mother from the Other Side, and he got special dispensation in the US Congress to bring over the rest of his family. And his wife and him, his wife Miriam Cresson, for years translated the American songbook into Yiddish. But I want to start with a love song that he sang, which I think really typifies the Yiddish language in terms of its ability to be playful and all the ways that you can, be endearing to your loved one, and, Ketzel and Ketzele, little cat, even a smaller cat, and it's very playful language. And so if you don't speak Yiddish, listen to the rhythm of this, because it just plays so lovely. And he says at the beginning, Ich hab a Lied geschrieben, I wrote this song. The song has an end, but my love is eternal.
Ich hab ein Lied geschrieben, gewidmet mit es zu dir. Es ist eingekritzt geblieben im Herzen da bei mir. Ich wollt bei dir gesingen, mein Lied gonna soft. Das Lied, sie hat ein Ende, mein Liebe hält nicht auf. Bist mein Kreuz, bist mein Herz, mein Gedille. Bist mein Gott, schöner Gott, Herr, mein Viele. Sag, du hast mich aus der Welt, wollte ich allem Ende erzählt, als du bist der Rein und einzige bei mir. Bist mein Welt, bist mein Herz, meine Schiris. Bist mein Jontef in mein Haar, singt des Meeres. Bist mein Schreiben, mein Ambitie, bist mein schönste Kompositie, bist mein Oizer, bist mein Scherz von mir. Bist meine Welt, bist mein Herz, mein Aschiris. Bist mein Jontef in mein Herz, singt es Miris. Bist mein Schrei, mein Ambitie, bist mein schönste Kompositie. Bist mein Oizer, bist mein Scherz von mir. Bist mein Welt, bist mein Herz. Bist mein Schreiben, mein Ambitie, bist mein schönste Komposition, bist mein Leben, bist mein Welt, bist mein Herz. Legst dir ständig noch im Sinnen, weil du hast mein Herz gewinnen. Oh. Thank you so much. So then this incredible thing happened. I went online and I noticed that a man named Henry Sapoznik, who had done this archival research, posted a few songs from the American Songbook in Yiddish, and they had never actually been recorded for commercial production before. So I became so interested that I found out that after Seymour had passed away, he left his archive to Harvard University. And I naively flew to Boston, showed up at the library, and they said, oh, do you have any permission to be here? Do you have a letter from your supervisor to come into our archive? And I quickly was like, oh, I forgot it at home, and wrote a letter from my supervisor, and came the next day and got access to this archive of Seymour's music, and what it actually was reel-to-reel tapes that had recorded all of these radio shows over decades of them translating everything that was on Broadway for years, that was you could hear in the streets. And so I was able to go into this archive and transcribe a number of these pieces. And so here's a medley that Nina and I have performed for many, many years. And how about a big round of applause for the lovely Nina Shapilsky. It's our first time seeing each other in 2 years. And we used to perform dozens and dozens of concerts a year all over North America. So this is really a treat. And what a place to come home and sing with you. There's no business like show business, like no business I know. Everything about it is appealing, everything the kayaks will allow. Nowhere can you get that happy feeling when you are stealing that extra bow of alle mir machen die Welt lachen, Gott Geld machen nicht. Heint ist das Theater ledig, es ist vermacht. Morgen tanzt man dort in, man lacht. Man neigt und man patschet bis halbe Nacht. Und dus stell sich euch vor. So not only was there popular American songs being translated in New York City, but actually we had the Harry Harris Jewish Hour in Hamilton, Ontario. And the Ashkenaz Festival, actually, when I was artistic director, we produced the Yiddish Radio Hour, which went on to become a show that has had many, many different incarnations with the incredible support of Eric and Teresa Tova. And it recently had a beautiful rendition with Alun Nashman. And this song was actually translated for the Harry Harris Jewish Hour by Michael Mendel's father. And you'll know this song, and I sing this song to my son whenever I have a chance when he's going to sleep at night. Climb up on my knee, sonny boy, you are almost 3, sonny boy. There's no way of knowing, I've no way of showing what you mean to me, sonny boy. Wenn der Himmel ist mich verstellt, finster vor mir die Welt, dann machst du als lichtig in der Leben. Ich will laut und greu sein. Sagst du, Kind, du wirst mir treu sein, weil du bist mein Fleisch und Blut, sonny boy. So, of course, those first 2 songs lend themselves very well to being translated into Yiddish. You'd expect almost maybe they were translated from Yiddish into English. But as Miriam Crescent and Seymour Rechtzeit got deeper into Broadway material, they didn't discriminate what would sound great in Yiddish or what wouldn't. And so they translated this. Chicken Katschkes läuft Männer Harry, wenn ich nehm dich euch in mein Sari. Es ist a Blitschke Schenken Hore mit a Flinch, Affen Tap. Der Flinge fress ich wie Ziegenbäcklich, denn ich treib mir meine schöne Pferdle. Mechanismen mich mit die Pferdlich gesehen. Ach, habt ihr Rede Geile, der Sitz ist boin, wie Samme das Tepperglätter. Fensteröfen glosen, Neuben und weil Tomer beizt sich der Wetter. 2 schöne Lämplech, was winken und blinken, von die Podkaves fliegen die Finken. Man kann sich von der Luft nicht trinken, was es gibt. Ach, ab mit mein klein schöne Pferdle mit dem Flint. Affentag. Oi, sag a schöner Frühmorgen, es wird noch der Tag hein sein schön. Weil verrückt finster die Sorgen, mein Mädele kommt heimzugehen. Mein Mädele kommt heimzugehen. There you go. So singing Oklahoma in Yiddish to kayaks on Otty Lake. That's exactly what they had in mind, I think, when they first, this was the setting that gave inspiration to that song. Now, Seymour Rechtzeit
became known as the Yiddish Frank Sinatra. He had this sweet tenor voice and actually sang well into his early 90s at the Lincoln Center. And so, of course, his wife had to translate this. Gate sucht jeden nun, ich pach sich in Weg. Für sein a Teil von Ort der Stadt, New York, New York. Kickt und meine Ski, so gnädig als sie. Viel jetzt dem Lust, dem Wanderlust, New York, New York. Wollt fern euch stehen in der Stadt, wo schluft kein Monit. Und vielen sicher so geht, sicher so geht. Ich fühl sich, ich fühl sich, ich fühl so geht. Mein Klee steht und dick, Schreck ist verschwindender Neck. Und koi mich will ich Fotos nahe, dort in New York. Koim will ich dort erhält, jetzt hab ich die ganze Welt als in mein Städtele New York. There's no business like show business. Hatschmann sagt's ist nicht ei. Jeder Klux ist als schlechte Zeiten. Als Theater ist ein Invalid. No, ich will meinen Professor nicht verbeiten. Ich wär auch jetzt wie, ich bin ein Jid. Weil wir machen die Welt lachen. Hotsch Geld machen wir nicht. Heint ist das Theater ledig, es ist vermacht. Morgen tanzt man dort in belacht. Man neigt eine Patsche bis Abendnacht. Und das stell sich euch vor, ist das Leben von der Nacht. Ja. Woo. Woo. Thanks for the whiskey, Bry. Lovely housewarming gift. Thank you. So I directed 3 festivals over 6 years. I had the lovely opportunity to go around Europe and North America searching for artists. And what a beautiful thing to be in a position to make art. Actually, this coming October, I'm having a chance to bring my favorite artists to Stockholm and to record and to play with me and to create. And so the last festival I did was in 2006, and we used to have these late night cabarets, they still do, of course, that would go on until 1, 2 in the morning, and people would just be cycling through on stage. And the birth of the album that I recorded was one of these late night cabarets. It was past midnight. This incredible artist, Marcello Mogilevsky, from Buenos Aires, was for sure drunk and sleeping with his head on one of the picnic tables outside by the water, and we were going on in a few seconds, and I touched his shoulder, and he said, "Oh, can you hum the melody again of what we're performing?" And actually, if you go online, on Spotify or wherever you listen to music, and you look up A Song is Born or A Nigen is Geboren, that recording of that night is the secret track after the last song. You can listen to this cabaret that we did number of years ago where these incredible musicians got up on stage and out of their slumber created magic. And it's just this exquisite love song of a man saying to his wife that no one can understand the fire that is inside of his heart, that nobody compares to her, and that his love for her is as certain as ink is black and paper is white. Papier is doch weiß. Papier ist doch weiß und Tinte ist doch schwarz. Und zu dir, mein süßes Leben, zieht doch mein Herz. Ich wollt ständig gesessen, 3 Tage nacheinander zu kuschen, dein Schönbeinen zu halten, deine Hand. Nächten bei Nacht bin ich euch vergassene. Viel schöne Mädelech hab ich dort gesehen. Viel schöne Mädelech, zu dir komm nicht gar, zu dein schwarze Egele, zu dein schwarze Haar. Ein Taille, ein Mine, deine edle Fasson. Im Herzen brennt ein Feuer, mir sieht es nicht an. Nicht so als ein Mensch, was so viel der treu tun das Leben ist bei Gott in die Hand. Thank you. What a pleasure to sing here. Brian, we should start a radio station. What do you think? I think Perth needs right out here, you know, just on the dock. We could call it like Lake something maybe. Lake 88. That's great. Is that free, that frequency? Because that would be a great local, heartfelt. I'm talking to the lovely Brian Perkin, our neighbor, who for years has served this community, running a beautiful radio station, and it's great to be here. So a couple years after, we ended up, that night where I sang this song, Papier ist doch weiß, led to the creation of this album, which actually we came to Perth with artists from Germany, British Columbia, Argentina, and we performed here in the town of Perth in the Studio Theater. And I think since that tour, and I went to South America after that, we'll be performing on October 17th for the Five Folks Festival in Stockholm with Mogilevsky and Lerner from Argentina, and you can stream it on YouTube and Facebook, so have a look. Maybe Ashkenaz will put a link if you want to connect back to where this inspiration came from. And so I haven't sung this song in many years, but this song is called a niggin, which is a wordless melody. And there's a historical context for what a niggin is. At some point in the Jewish Enlightenment, there was a shift where music and song and body became a way to connect with the metaphysical, with the divine. Until that point, the only way to really connect with God was through rigorous study, and you had to achieve a kind of intellectual ability. And so during the Haskalah, the Hasidim came along and through ecstatic dance and repetition, one could transform themselves. And you can see this even now if you go to certain religious ceremonies where they will repeat and repeat and repeat until, something opens up. So this is called a niggin, and it's about a man who was always arguing with God, but when he sang this melody, they could actually connect. Is a Kapsen amol gewesen, vielleicht nur mit Gott sich kriegen, Wunder über Wunder, wollt mit ihm getroffen, wenn hat gesungen, Ot azaminigen. Chidibim bom bom, chidibim bom bim bom, chidibim bom bom, chidibim bom, chidibim, chidibom. Chitty bim bim bum bum, ja bye bye bye. Hat von Niggen sich Wein gegossen, hat Sub noch Sub geschlungen. Wunder über Wunder hat mit ihm getroffen, wenn hat gesungen, hat so gesungen. Let me hear you. Chitty bim bum bum, chitty bim bum bim bum, chitty bim bum bum, chitty bitty bim bum, chitty bim, chitty bum, chitty bim bim bum bum, bye 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 bye. Singt der Gesech Mesikes is rasch von Freude gesprungen. Wunder über Wunder hat mit ihm getroffen, wenn hat gesungen. Hat so gesungen. Chitty bim bom bom, chitty bim bom bim bom, chitty bim bom bom, chitty bitty bim bom, chitty bim, chitty bom, chitty bim bim bom bom, bye 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 bye, chitty bim bom bom, chitty bim bom bim bom, chitty bim bom bom, chitty bitty bim bom, chitty bim, chitty bom,
chitty bim bim bum bum, yai bye bye, yai. Thank you so much for coming, for joining us on this gorgeous day. The weather cooperated, and it's pretty inspiring to be able to look out. Hey Brian, what do you say we do a concert series on the lake? You know that? Yeah, that could be a, you know, when you retire. We'll wait, you know, 20, 25 years. I'll be here. One of the most amazing things about the Ashkenaz Festival were these epic closing concerts. I actually had the chance to go on and produce at Harborfront Center for many more years and bring artists from other places, from Italy, and do food festivals and classical music festivals and festivals of all kinds, Caribbean music, and you'd have 5,000 people out in the audience on a summer's night. You know, we got to 4,000 here today, but next time 5,000. Just need to find a radio station to sponsor us or something. And there was an iconic singer who used to join us at these closing concerts from New York City, Adrienne Cooper. And this was a song that she would sing. She passed away at too young of an age. And when I was singing this earlier, getting ready for the concert, I heard her beautiful, deep, soulful voice over mine. And so wherever you are, Adrienne, this is for you. And I want to thank Ashkenaz again and thank all of you for coming here. This song is called Wollte ich gehat. Wollte ich gehat, if I were to have. Wollte ich gehat koyach, if I were to have strength. Wollte ich gelaufen in die Gassen, if I were to run into the streets. Wollte ich geschrien sholem, if I were to sing peace. There's lots of people who put themselves out there every day in harm's way to fight for people's freedoms, to fight for equality. I bow down to you. It is an incredible thing to do. It's a particular time in this world of seeing people stranded. In Europe, there's a huge and brand new aspect to the refugee crisis that's going on. I have a friend right now who is literally on the Lithuanian border with Belarus looking for refugees. The UN is trying to find them because nobody will let them in. And so this is to everybody out there who is putting themselves out there to bring a sense of dignity to people's lives. And I hope we can sing this together and bring some sholem, bring some peace to Otty Lake, and to all of you who joined us in this live stream. I'm sending out my love to you, and thank you for coming and sharing in this music. I'll sing this once and then we can sing it together. Wollte ich gehat koyach, wollte ich gelaufen in die Gassen, wollte ich geschwiegen sholem, my sholem, sholem, sholem. Again, together. Wollte ich gehat koyach, wollte ich gelaufen in die Gassen, wollte ich geschwiegen sholem, my sholem, sholem, sholem. So, this is a part for all of you to sing.
that are here, okay? You're just going to repeat the word sholem. Sholem, sholem, sholem. Oy, sholem, sholem, sholem. And don't stop. Everyone there. Oy, sholem, sholem, sholem. Let me hear you. Oy, sholem, sholem, sholem. Keep going. Wollt ich gehabt koyech, wollt ich gelaufen in die Gassen, wollt ich geschrien Sholem, oh Sholem, Sholem, Sholem. Yadadai, 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 yadadai. Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your afternoon, and to all of you out there, sending my deepest love and regard. Thank you.